In his Theory of Justice, published about 50 years ago, the philosopher John Rawls set out an elaborate principle of justice as fairness, a win-win way of thinking about the distribution of goods in society that influenced a generation of students. For it to be fair, justice has to benefit everyone to some degree. And for this to work, people have to be able to ignore past injustices. But justice is not merely distribution, it's retribution as well. Welcome to the Parashat Shavua Bo. The Torah states that Moses, after turning their water into blood, after filling their hair with lice, after killing their crops and their cattle, and doing a variety of other things, not surprisingly became a very big man in the eyes of the Egyptians. So that by the time he sent the Israelite women to borrow gold and housewares from their neighbors, all they really had to say was, Moses sent me. And of course they would have given it all away willingly. After that, their firstborn children were killed. Retribution was complete. But even retribution has to be fair. Parents may have been accomplices to the crimes of enslaving the Israelites and killing their male children. But why kill their firstborn? What did they do? Aren't they innocent? And the children of lowly servants? What did they or their parents do? How do we explain it? That suffering is endemic to the world and there's always collateral damage? I wish it were that simple. The Bible itself offers contradictory responses. In several places, it says that sins are to be punished to the third or fourth generation. Yet in others, in Deuteronomy, in the book of Ezekiel, it's explicit in telling us not to punish children for the sins of their parents. And that's why the suffering caused by the exodus from Egypt bothered many rabbis throughout the ages. Why they divided God's transcendent essence into two parts, justice and mercy. Why we spill drops of wine at the Seder to remind us to moderate our joy just a little bit. Why throughout the rest of Pesach we don't sing the complete Hallel in the synagogue, as we do on other holidays. And as it says in Mishlei in Proverbs, don't be happy at the downfall of your enemy. We acknowledge that in the real world, just outcomes sometimes cause suffering, and not everyone who suffers is evil. Abraham could not bear the thought of collateral damage when informed of the coming destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So he argued with God to spare the innocent. But Moses, as founder and leader of a holy nations, employed violence in fulfilling his mission and in meting out justice. But a holy nation is required to show compassion, even towards its enemies. So how can this be accomplished? In 1956, another Moses, Moshe Dayan, eulogized Roy Rotenberg, an IDF reserve officer ambushed by terrorists near Gaza. In his iconic funeral oration, Dayan, commander of the IDF, couldn't blame the Gazans for their hatred of the Jews who had displaced them on their land. The only response that Dayan could offer to his generation was vigilance and sacrifice, to be warriors, defending their homes without losing their humanity. This was the response that he gave, and it was indeed in the spirit of Torah, challenging and difficult, but as valid for us today as it was then while burying Roy Rothberg at his home near the Gaza Strip in 1956.